You know my brother 212 Heat? All of you have seen the video, yeah, of 212 Heat when me and him got arrested. So the same thing that happened to those young kids where their windows got shot out, all right? That's what happened to my brother 212 Heat when we both got arrested back in 2018. The back of his thing shot out and like gas came out, yeah? So from what I hear, it was beanbags that they shot through the window to the kids before they grabbed them. On my brother's one, it was gas that come out. So pretty much they were trying to smoke my brother out of his car, yeah? Now let me show you the difference, all right? When my brother opened the door and they come running towards him, straight away he reacted violently, all right? Now, my brother could have been Oche that day because obviously he reacted in a violent way and the cops are allowed to do what they want to take him down. But when the police got close, they were jumping on not only him but also the other guys, and they got him on the ground and they handcuffed him, yeah? They handcuffed 212 Heat, my brother, the same way they handcuffed these young guys up at Revesby, yeah? And when the young kid was screaming, please, 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 remember, these kids are on the street playing gangster. And as soon as they got arrested and they got kneed in the back of the neck, they were pleading with the police officers like enough, like stop freaking kneeing me in the back of the head, stop freaking punching me, giving me cheap shots, all right? And this is what I said to all you younger generation in the last couple of weeks. You know, I don't want you guys to go through what those young kids just went through at Revesby, you know? These guys, yeah, they might be Illakays, yeah, they might be gangster, or they might be, you know, guys who don't take a backward step. But at the end of the day, they didn't feel the wrath of consequences. What was the consequences? The consequences was what they went through last week when that big arrest happened. Yeah, from what the news said is that the target was someone who was going to the daycare center. All right, so all of you saw the Uding shade that happened a couple of years ago, where bullets went flying through the wall, and then little babies were like missed, you know, by inches. So obviously there's boys out there who don't care, you know, no morals. They will do what needs to be done to get their money, to get paid, or they'll do what needs to be done so that they succeed in their mission. All right. 212 Heat, my brother, he was handcuffed the exact same way as those boys, yeah? But the difference is when my brother was handcuffed, they grabbed the gun, yeah? Now let's say, all right, this is a gat, yeah? They put the gat right next to my brother's face while he was handcuffed. Remember, his hands are behind his back and he's on his stomach. And the cop put his AK right next to my brother's face, and then he used his foot to kick it. When he kicked the gat, it went crack straight into 212 Heat's face. You know? My brother ended up with a big mark on the side of his face with blood pissing out of it, yeah? And guess what my brother's reaction was? He laughed. And mind you, like, yeah, as gangster as I am, I would have been dirty. I would have started going off and swearing, yeah? But this is my brother's reaction. He laughed at the cop that did that. You know, not because my brother's a hard cunt. No, it's not because of that. It's because my brother lives the gang life. So he knows that things like this is going to happen, and he's ready for it, all right? It's not about how hard you are. It's not about trying to bridge up to police. It's literally about the difference between you and other types of gangbangers, all right? My brother, obviously, like, he used some words that I can't express on online right now, but pretty much he threatened the police, you know, on that day. And as you all see in the camera footage of when my brother and I were getting walked out of the police station after being arrested, he starts mouthing off at the cameras and also the police, you know. Now that's the difference, all right? The young kids that were screaming out help, no, he's not weak. No, he's not a little shit that tried to be a gangster and then got arrested. Nah, you're not getting what I'm saying. Remember, my brother has been in the game since he was 12. All right, he's been gangbanging since he was 12. All right, same as myself. All right, the first time I had an encounter with police was at Wilmot Public School when a year 6 bully tripped me over during a game of soccer in primary school at Wilmot Mount Druitt. Yeah. And when he tripped me up, I turned around, I ran up, I did a fly kick, hit him straight in the chest, and the year 6 kid fell on the ground and he had an asthma attack. The police came down and obviously they gave me the biggest lecture of my life, but that was my first encounter with police. I was in year 4, yeah, in Wilmot Public School. And this is what I'm saying to you guys. There's boys like myself and my brother who have lived the life. You know, we've been there and we've done it, and we are ready for anything. You know, like it's not about how hard you are. These young kids haven't lived this type of life. You know, they have an opportunity when they hear my lives to change. You know, obviously these young guys haven't been watching my lives, or if they did watch my lives, they're like, shut up, Triggz. You know? But like I say, it is what it is with Triggz. You know, if you learn, cool. If you don't, it is what it is. You know, and that's why I don't want everyone to be like mocking this kid like for screaming police, because I remember I seen a lot of comments and all that. I guess look at this little itch, want to be a gangster, now you're screaming. Nah, but, you know, like my thing is these kids are being used. Yeah, there's older boys in the background who are putting these youngsters in the front line. And for those of you who didn't realize, a few of these kids who are getting arrested now are Koori boys. Now remember, Koori boys are not known for eating shay. Koori boys are not known for taking on contracts. Koori boys, like, they grow up a certain way, and just like myself, the Koori boys petty thief, the Koori boys steal cars, just like myself when I was growing up as kids. But you guys all watch what's his name, that Spaniard, you know, he tells it like caddies, like sneaking into houses. This is the type of things that a lot of Koori boys get into, you know, and then they eventually, now these Koori boys are getting involved in real gang related stuff. Like, they're not in gangs, the Koori boys, and a lot of these youngsters are not even in gangs. They're just trying to make quick cash, yeah? And if they're not trying to make quick cash, they're just trying to impress the older boys here. Because I'm telling you, I'm not an idiot. I've been in the game a long time, yeah? And the amount of money that is offered to the younger generation to drop off ILK cars and to drop off firearms or UGDRs, the money that is offered up to them is like chump change. If you worked a 9-to-5 job, you would make that money in a week, all right? Yeah, get paid $2,000 to go and do a quick job and you'll make it in 5 minutes, but you're risking your freedom and you're risking your life, all right? But if you worked your ass off during a week, you'll make that money. All right, if you don't want to work, freaking get on YouTube and find something worthwhile that you love and stick to that, focus on that, so that you may be able to make money from what you love, all right? I'm not trying to tell you go out and get a job. I'm not trying to tell you what to do. All I'm saying is there is better ways than crime to live your life and to make money. I'm telling you, keep going the way you are going. To all you younger generation out there, you're going to end up like that kid who's pleading and screaming for mercy, you know? And like I'm saying, I'm not trying to belittle that kid. You know, he's been used and now he's stuck inside prison, and this is exactly what he's gonna do, yeah? As soon as he hits juvie, what are you in for? Yeah, did you see the boys that got arrested at Reesby? I'm one of them, yeah? This is exactly what he's gonna say. Who do you roll with? Yeah, I roll with this family, or I roll with this gang, or I roll with those bikies. This is exactly what he's gonna say. Why? Because he wants to keep up that image. He wants to keep up that gang-related mentality, you know? But deep down, I know that he's shattered. He's locked up. He's shattered at the fact that he cannot be there for his family now. Why? Because he's locked up in juvie. And if he's not locked up in juvie, good luck to you. He's now in prison, and he's gonna be starting off with rubbish. In juvie, as soon as you walk in, you know, you get a good feed. you're spoken to, what's called, by people that actually care. If you're going to jail, good luck to you. No one in jail cares about you. The only reason why they do what they do is to make sure that they're known to then they've got it on record that they have done their job and they have done their duty. That's the only reason why majority of the screws go to work, is to do their job, yeah? But they won't go above and beyond to actually help you. Very, very, very few screws will go above and beyond to help you. So, with all the arrests that's been happening, because it's not only that, there was Abingstays, bro, I swear to you, in the last week, it's probably been about 7 or 8 incidences, all concerning the younger generation. And I'm just like, come on, fuck. Like, I'm not gonna freaking talk rubbish about them. All I'm gonna say is, like, guys, I'm gonna give you like a story that happened, yeah, while I was in prison. So for all of you who don't know, my background is entertainment. So I run events. I used Inside Out, all right? So I think it was about 4 or 5 years ago. So I did 7 years and then I just got out 4 months ago. And when I was inside prison, I got my wife to run Snow Tunes for me. If you guys don't know what Snow Tunes is, it's a winter festival in the snow at Jindabyne. So my wife was running that with my business partner at the time. All right, Snow Tunes goes off. It's a festival that caters to a lot of the little rich white kids up down those ways. You know, because you don't really see islanders. Babe, you remember the what's his name? What's the name of that little wolf or that wait, Jose, was it? Yeah, I remember. Anyway, what do you tell me? What do you see? Have a look up. She's gonna look it up, all right? In these little kids that were there selling uglies and doing what they got to do, all right? I explained to them, because I caught a lot of kids, yeah, that were doing this, and I explained to them, like, just out of brotherly advice, like, you keep doing what you're going to do, you're going to end up inside. Long story short, I met one of those young kids when I got out this time. I just finished my 7 years, and this kid is flourishing. Like, when I say rich, like, he reached out to me, explaining to me that I was the guy that spoke to him at when we were getting ready for Jindabyne Festival, Snow Tunes, and we were handing out pamphlets and tickets were going on sale at the time, pre-sale tickets, and I had just spoken to him because he was selling a bit of marijuana and whatnot, and I was just giving brotherly advice like I always do, you know. I wasn't trying to tell him what to do. And he said from the moment that I spoke to him, he decided, like, to elevate his status to this stuff and this stuff, yeah. And as he was going, long story short, he's one of his best mates got Oche, and that's what changed his life dramatically. You know, and then he went down a different road where he started watching YouTube videos, started learning how to be a businessman, learning about accounting and whatnot. And now he's at the top of his game. Bro, I really want to mention this guy's name, but I'm not going to invade his privacy because, like, he's a somebody now. But this is what I'm saying. Is it going to take you guys for one of your family members to be hurt to change your life? And, you know, is it going to take you? Like, there's a kid who got shot by the police, yeah, and he lost his leg. So when this happened, he lost one of his legs, and now he wants to, like, pray to God, and now he wants to be religious. Like, why did you have to wait that long? You know, like, this is your opportunity now to make a change for yourself. Don't listen to me. Like, at the end of the day, it's on you and you only. All right. Oh, all right, sweet. All right, we'll move on to move on to that after. Yeah. So these guys that I wanted to highlight, like I want to keep the story going with the younger generation. Yeah. This is gonna be a story that I haven't told before, but I did give a little glimpse of it probably about 3 weeks ago. Remember when I told you guys about the two lawyers that got taken out, and when they got taken out by two criminals, they the two lawyers wanted some of this, yeah, but the two criminals had no money, so the two female lawyers were like, oh yeah, you know what, it's all good, then we'll go home. But these two criminals were supposed to go to a hotel with these two female lawyers together. All right. So this is what I'm going to explain to you. Everyone out there that's been inboxing me, obviously it's just I probably got about, I think, 8 messages, and out of those 8 messages, there was 2 from the same person. Yeah, but these guys were saying, why is it, Triggz, that you always tell stories about other people and their faults, but you've never told any stories about you and your boys and your faults? Obviously, you guys know I'm always telling stories about my faults, all right? But I haven't said anything about my guys as of yet, yeah? There's a big story we're in the middle of doing about one of my guys. It's gonna be on YouTube. A lot of people have watched the footage of what happened, but I'm not going to highlight it right now. That'll be on YouTube within the next week or so. But you all wanted a story about the faults of my guys, so I'm going to give you the story, all right? Remember those 2 guys that I told you that took out those 2 lawyer girls? So those 2 guys apparently were a part of Bloodline. I've never met them, obviously, because they're younger, yeah? The reason why I'm highlighting these 2 guys is to show all you younger generation out there how two-faced this life is, yeah? This kid, he came from juvie, and the other kid was his best mate, pretty much, yeah? When it came to Goulburn, the situation with S2F and Bloodline had broken out, and he saw how Bloodline didn't have the numbers, but they did what needed to be done that day, and all of S2F buckled, all right? Not one person went and stuck up for Sunia when he was getting attacked by 2 Bloodline boys. And pretty much half the yard was S2F at the time, and no one helped him. So to you younger generation, understand that, like, when they had the numbers, they could have backed up their boy, and there was only 2 Bloodline boys in there, but they didn't back him up. This is what this life is all about, you know. There was guys who will go on with it when they got numbers, and there's guys who just don't have it in them, you know. Once they see someone that's about it. Remember how I told you about my brother 212 Heat and their kid? All right, my brother's about it. All right, that kid wasn't. Obviously, he's about it when it comes to doing all that rubbish on the streets. But when it came to the consequences, he wasn't ready for it. He didn't realize that police would do this type of stuff here. Yeah, but this is what I'm saying about those S2F boys who were there that day. They all buckled, and none of them backed up their one guy. And guess what? That one guy who was getting opchayed by 2 of my guys, he was the brother of the leader of S2F. So the leader of S2F is Esa Kefavalu, and his brother was the one that got chopped. Yeah. Now that's just something that I wanted to highlight with this story. This Italian kid's name is Tyrone Tallarico. His best mate's name is Demo. Okay. Tyrone had gotten there when the situation had occurred. He realized, wow, like, Bloodline are actually who they say they are. You know, they're ruthless. They don't need numbers, and everywhere they go on their own. They don't need to be in a group. You know, and he ended up joining Bloodline under one of the other boys, yeah? I didn't meet him at the time when he joined, but when I finally met him, I nicknamed him Ty Riot. And the reason why I nicknamed him Ty Riot was because he came from juvie for a riot. And then when a riot kicked off in prison, remember, prison is 10 times worse than juvie. He was heavily involved in the riot in prison with a lot of the Bloodline boys, and obviously with a lot of the Tongan boys that were also there. There was a lot of good Tongan boys that were there at the time as well. And so I nicknamed him Ty Riot because this guy was always running amok. He didn't realize, Tyrone, the depths that Bloodline go to when it comes to war. So, you know that how I told you guys that the initiation for Bloodline boys is to walk into opposition territory and then do what you got to do to survive. Tyrone took that as like a joke. He thought like, oh, it's probably just something the boys are saying to scare me. He didn't realize it's actually a real thing. Yeah. So when he got classoed to go to a OC and S2F prison, which was Clarence at the time, pretty much the boys that were there told him, as soon as you get there, remember, this is your initiation. You walk straight in there and you do what needs to be done. All right, to all you younger generation, remember, my guys have been in the game for a long time. And these are the types of guys, and myself, these are the types of people that I'm trying to tell you to stay away from. Stay away from people like myself and my guys who grab younger generation guys like Tyrone and make them their frontline soldiers. Now, my guys never asked Tyrone to be a part of Bloodline. He asked to be Bloodline. He's the one that wanted to be a gangster. And then when he got put in front of in front of the line, this is when he realized, like, oh, far out, I didn't realize this is what gangstering on was all about. Yeah, he gets to Clarence prison, and I'll give it to him. He did it. He walked straight into the pod. All right. When he walked into the pod, he saw his mate Demo. All right. Now, Tyrone told our boys a story after the incident happened. The story was, he walked in and he stood there and he yelled, FOC and S2F. Then they all ran down and he tried to go hard, but he got abstayed a couple of times, and then the screws came in and stopped it. Pretty much, that's what an initiation is. You walk in and you survive, yeah? Tyrone told us he walked in and he survived. Fast forward 3 years later, I find out that he actually walked in there, and then he went with his mate, and they went and started doing laps until one of the S2F guys grabbed him, took him into the room, and then they brevelled him. So you all see that music clip, Who's Real, with that mushy flop and that hooligan. You see that mushy when he's walking into a room with a breville? This is what these guys did to Tyrone, or Ty Riot, you know? He never went in and went on with it. He never went in and tried to like stand up for himself. He went in and he like tried to blend in with his mate Demo. Like Demo was already there, so Demo wasn't trying to blend in. He was already there, but that's his mate. Demo stood staunch with his mate. But as soon as he got dragged to the room, Breville shot over the head, and then they abstained him, and then he got taken out. So that's what really happened. All right, I found that out later, and then also Demo got jumped as well. They came to Junee, and there was a situation where all the screws inside prison were like just talking about Bloodline, how ruthless they are, how they do what they got to do on their own. You know, Bloodline's known for boys who are able to walk into an opposition's prison and just take on everyone that's there, whether they lose or not. And yes, many times, how are they going to win? There's just one person, you know? Like, there's been a few boys who walked in and come out good, but majority of them walked in and got abstayed, got. But that's how they ended up with the Ainga, all right? Ainga means family, and when I say that, it means they ended up joining Bloodline after they got. So Tyrone and Demo end up at Junee prison, and while they were there, they were now considered Bloodline members, all right? Now remember, the only reason why I'm telling you guys this story is because these people who were complaining about me telling other people's stories and not explaining the faults of my own. Here, you wanted it, you've got it. This is my way of showing you, younger generation guys, I'm not discriminating. Like I'm not just talking a lot of rubbish about these gangs because I don't like them. I'm actually talking rubbish about everything that I've been in and amongst, and the reason why I'm saying that is so all of you guys know that everything I talk about is rubbish. Not rubbish as in bullshit, rubbish as in it's like a rubbish life, yeah? So now that Demo and Tyrone are considered Bloodline members, remember, none of the Bloodline boys knew that story Tyrone told wasn't true. Everyone thought it was true, all right? So now that they're over there, Tyrone and Demo have got the numbers because all the Bloodline boys are at junee, all right? And they wanted to prove themselves because they knew there's going to be a time later on in the future when this is going to come out where that they didn't go on with it, or Tyrone didn't go on with it, and he got, yeah? So CIG is a correctional intelligence group. These guys are like the prison police. They called me for a meeting at Silverwater Prison, and when they called me for a meeting, they said to me, you need to start talking to your guys and calming them down. And I was like, what are you talking about? And they're like, in the last week, Pete, there's been 7 abbing stays from your guys in different prisons. And I was like, what? I'll go, who? I've never heard about anything. And I was like, you never heard about it because they just walked into the prisons one out and did what they needed to do. He goes, it wasn't a gang brawl or anything like that. It was just guys walking into the prison, doing what they needed to do, and then leaving to go to Segro. And they go, and the worst of it is, in the last week, from all the statements we just told you, 2 guys had gone in and abstain someone who was a member or an alliance of OC, and this guy was in the middle of having a visit with his mum. So you guys are all watching me while I'm going live, yeah? This kid was talking to his mum on video link, right? Tyrone and Demo came from behind and just started freaking going at this, going to town on this guy. This is what built their status, all right? Now remember, the Bloodline boys all respected them because of what they went through at Clarence when they were with the ops. But when they did that, now everyone had respect for them. Everyone was like, oh, wow, you hear about those 2 younger boys, Tyrone and Demo? They freaking op-chade a guy in front of his mum during visit, yeah? And the CIG, Correctional Intelligence Group, who came and saw me, they're like, what they did, he gets, I'm telling you now, it's never going to happen again. We don't care if we have to lock down all of Bloodline. They will never get visits again. And the only time they will get visits is when we give it to them because of that situation that occurred. They were supposed to be going to visits, but instead of going to visits, they went and attacked that guy, yeah? And this is what I'm telling you guys. This is the life that I don't want you younger generations to end up in, being puppets for the older boys. Or I'm not even going to say the word puppet, but doing what you need to do so that you get respect from the older boys. Because that's what Demo and Tyrone were doing. They were trying to get respect from the boys because they knew that they effed up at Clarence. That story that they told us was a load of lies. So now that they got their big name, not only with Bloodline, but also with other prison inmates as being dangerous, those guys who do that, they went to Silverwater. Again, another S2F member. They went to town on him, and then he got taken as well, all right? These 2 went from there, ended up at Goulburn with all the other Bloodline boys because they were getting tipped around everywhere, yeah? And then when they were there, they eventually ended up at Nowra. Well, Tyrone did. Now, this is where I'm going to explain it thoroughly to all you younger generation out there. See how that Tyrone was going hard for all the Bloodline boys? When he ended up at Nowra prison, the Hells Angels is a bikie gang. The Hells Angels told Tyrone, come and join us, and if you join us, we're going to give you full colors, and we're going to look after you with money. Now, if you guys don't know, all over the news back a couple of years ago, the Hells Angels were known to be big money makers here in Sydney. You know, a lot of money was being laundered, and they were getting arrested left, right, and center, but the cops couldn't stop their money flow. And this was offered to Tyrone. And guess what happened? Instead of being loyal to the Bloodline boys, he told the Hells Angel boys, yeah, sweet. This is where I'm shocked, because I was getting messages from everyone saying that Tyrone had said this, yeah? But remember, I don't really know him. I had met him twice, all right? And when I heard this, I said to the boys, look, leave him alone. Maybe the rumor is a load of rubbish, just boys trying to get us to turn on Tyrone. Like, don't listen to anyone. Just leave it and let things be, and we'll find out later on. Came out that it was the truth. Tyrone did say to them, yeah, like, I wanna be money maker. I wanna be able to do 1, 2, 3. And what nobody knew is, when I first met Tyrone, it was through the boys, through the yards. I wasn't even with him. We were in different yards at Goulburn. I was in the Roman, he was in the Islander yard. Yeah. I said to him when he was about to go on his mission to Clarence to take on all these enemies, our enemies, I said to him, give me your phone number and your details, so I can, send money to your mum and whatnot. For someone I didn't know, like, I actually went out of my way. My wife went out of her way. Not only did we put money in this account, money was given to his mum for Mother's Day, flowers, chocolates, money, like taken out to dinner. This is what I'm saying. Like, not only the boys, but my family went above and beyond for Tyrone's mum and his grandmother. Yeah, obviously because Tyrone had just come into Bloodline, and he had gone and done his initiation. All right. But then when he went and said yes to the Hells Angels, the rumor went around, and when he got out, he actually went and he tried to join the Hells Angels behind the Bloodline boys' back, yeah? And the Hells Angels, they turned around. Oh, give me 2 seconds. Let me just do this puzzle. Yo, got it. So the Hells Angels, they turned around and they said, mate, Bloodline's a ruthless crew. If you're willing to be a two-face to Bloodline, God only knows what you would do to us. So nah, man, you're not in the Hells Angels. They knocked him back after telling him that he could join. Like, what Tyrone didn't realize is we got history with the Hells Angels. So when he went and sucked up the ass and said to them, yeah, I want to be a money maker, I want to freaking be with you when I get out, they turned around and said that to him, and he was shattered, all right? And then I found out afterwards that he was now trying to join the Almadines, all right? All I said to the boys was, leave him be, because the boys were like dirty at the fact that they all took care of him, and then as soon as he got out, he went two-faced and he tried to join a different gang. Yeah, right. This is what I'm saying to all you youngsters out there. Look how solid my team is, but then younger boys come in, and then this is what they do. All right, the same thing as that demo. He's got Bloodline tatted right across his face, and Tyrone, he's got Bloodline tatted all over his body. But as soon as he got out and he got knocked back by the Hells Angels, he was trying to join the Almadines. And then he went and started trying to get the Bloodline tattoos tatted off him, because he knew that now the Bloodline boys, weren't happy with him and what he did. He went and tried to start a lie and say the reason why he left Bloodline was because my brother had an argument with him and started threatening him. But what nobody realized outside of the gang is that this happened when my brother found out about what he had done, being a two-face. But before this even happened, he had already said yes to joining the Hells Angels while he was at Nowra with the boys. And then when he got out, there was no argument or nothing. He went and tried to join them, and the Hells Angels told him to get effed, you know? Now, while he's trying to join the Elmadines, he's now, with Demo on the outside, and they're doing their thing, yeah? Out of the blues, out of the blues, Demo contacts my brother. And my brother's like, who's this? And he goes, oh, my name's Demo. He goes, I was Bloodline. He goes, but then I ended up joining the Hells Angels when I got out. And my brother's like, I've never heard of you. What do you want anyway? And he goes, brother, I just thought like, because I went hard for Bloodline, that you would help me. My brother said, help you with what? Because, bro, I just got jumped. He goes, bro, they jumped all over my head. And my brother's like, what? What do you mean? And he explained that Tongan boys on the outside had jumped on his head, but his Hells Angels mates didn't help him, or they refused to help him. Right? And this is where I'm at. A lot of Tongan boys are connected to the Hells Angels, yeah? And if these two boys, Tyrone and Demo, had done something wrong while they were doing prison time, who's the best people to set them up? The people that he went to suck ass to. They went to suck ass to the Hells Angels, and then all of a sudden, Demo got jumped. So who else could have set you up? You know? Oh, look, I'm not saying the HAs set you up, but all I'm saying is there's a reason why the HA boys didn't back you up. You know, there's a reason why you went and called my brother and asked for help. Is because you realized that you made a mistake when you went and joined the bikie gang. You know. And my brother simply said to him, wait, are you really calling me and asking me for help after you joined the HAs and you left the Bloodline boys? And he goes, yeah, also because like I done a lot for the Oibays, which Demo and Tyrone, they did work. They put in work for the boys, you know. But in saying that, the first opportunity that they got given to make big money, boom, Two-Face. They turn straight away. And this is what I keep telling to all you younger boys out there, the Two-Face friggin' life that this brings, yeah? Like, these guys were solid with Bloodline. But as soon as they got offered money, they turned. Just like that crap that happened when the father and son got Oche. Guess what? You know the son that got shot, the Hemsey son? It was his best mate from a kid growing up that set him up, all right? And I keep telling you guys, I'm not telling you these stories to try to scare you. I'm not trying to tell you this story so I can try to intimidate you. I'm just telling you these stories so you can learn from it, all right? You just want to come, for all of you idiots, I know it's not younger generation that's been messaging me hating on the fact that I haven't told a story like this about my own guys. So I know it's not the younger generation. It's people that's either my age or just a little bit younger than me that can't hack the fact that I've exposed all the rubbish that they've been saying for the last fucking 9 years. Yeah. So this is what I'm saying. These two guys were Bloodline members. All right. They went and did that Two-Face move, and then Demo got jumped, you know. When he got jumped, he reached back out to the boys for help, and my brother told him, go for a walk, son. He goes, you're a little kid. And he goes, and you have the nerve to come and ask us for help after you walked away from us? Get out of here. Now Tyrone. He, apparently, apparently bad words said between the Bloodline boys and Tyrone. Pretty much the Bloodline boys just washed their hands with Tyrone, you know, like they don't want nothing to do with him, or they don't want to hear anything about him ever again, because this is the type of person he is, you know. And obviously if the Elmadine boys had known about this situation, they never would have helped him. But yeah, this is exactly what he did, and the Hells Angel boys kicked him to the curb because of it, all right? Now, the story that you guys all waiting for was about the two lawyers. Now, the two guys who are so-called two gangsters who run amok and go on with it. They are the two guys that I just finished talking about, Demo and Tyrone. These two took two lawyers, female lawyers, out, yeah, and they partied with these two lawyers. When I say party, you all know what party is. And then the two female lawyers were willing to go back to a hotel with Demo and Tyrone, all right? And the story goes that, remember, I didn't hear this story from Tyrone or Demo, yeah? You know the two female lawyers? These two female lawyers are so dumb that they tell this story to every inmate that's a gangbanger, right? Like, this is what I haven't even touched on, is the two-faced lawyers. You know, these lawyers were little dogs that go around and pass on messages. But I can't just blame the lawyers, because also screws and cops do the same thing, yeah? But I'm just talking about these female lawyers, who think that they're gangsters, you know? They've started a lot of war between a lot of gangs, yeah? Because they passed on messages. And when I tell you about the wars that went on inside prison because of these female lawyers, you're gonna be shocked. Like, everyone on the media, everyone on social media is talking about how these gangs are going to war inside prison, and they didn't even realize it was freaking female lawyers that started it. They were the ones that freaking made all these fucking abbing stays and everything happen. And also, you know, these ones that were happening outside, these freaking female lawyers were the ones that helped orchestrate it, all right? Not just the female lawyers, also female officers that were passing on messages from prison outside were the ones that helped orchestrate Uning Shays. This is what I'm saying to you guys. You all think that gangstering on is just, you take it like at face value, where you're like, I've seen it on movies. It's easy for me to hold a gat and pull the trigger. I can be a gangster. You know what? I am an gangster guy. Yeah, that's what I am. Mate, it's freaking way more freaking into gangstering on. There's way more into it than just pulling the ego tray. There's way more into it than having loyalty, you know, for the oi base. Like, you don't even know the definition of loyalty. But you know what your loyalty is? To all you younger generation out there, your loyalty is limited loyalty, you know, because you're down for the cause when you're in the gang. You're down for the cause when you have the numbers and you're making money. But as soon as shit goes to Itche, all of that goes out the window. You know, this is what I'm saying. Limited loyalty, right? You're only loyal when everything's going good. Now, Tyrone and Demo, when they took these two female lawyers out and they were partying, it came to the end of the night. The two female lawyers were like, hey, let's take this party to a hotel. Yeah, chang chang. And then they said to the two gangsters, or the supposed gangsters, hey, have you got any of this for party tonight? Yeah. And they were like, oh, yeah. All good. Yeah. Made a few phone calls. Obviously, the boys have connects, you know, Tyrone and Demo, when they make phone calls. But then guess what? This is so embarrassing to even say. They turned around to the two female lawyers and they asked them, how much money have you got? And they're like, oh, what do you mean? These two idiots, like, with no embarrassment whatsoever, asked the two female lawyers if they could pay for this. And the two female lawyers, yeah, like, they were embarrassed that two so-called gangsters asked them for money. The two female lawyers were so embarrassed that they were like, you know what, nah, we're just gonna end the night here. Take care, guys. What happened to gangster? This is what I'm saying, you know, like, there's a lot more to gang life than what you guys think, you know. And this is exactly what how I'm gonna end my life. There's a guy named Doc, all right, AFU. This guy's old school crim, like from way back in the 90s, yeah. And I've touched on this once before, but I'm going to touch on it again just so I can teach all you younger generation what the older boys do to the younger guys. I know you may sit there and you think, nah, there's no way my older boys are using me. Look, all right, let's say your older boys are not using you, yeah? But ask yourself this. Why are you doing all the dirty work? Why are you parking up all the kill cars? Why are you collecting all the UGDRE money? Why are you the one that's always going to pick up random stuff from random places and not them? You know why? Because you're being used. That's why. I'm not here to belittle any of you. All I'm saying is, here's a story. God willing, you learn from it. All right? There's this guy, Doc Afu, yeah? Old school Tongan cream. Every single younger generation Tongan inside prison, they all bow down to this bloke, all right? And they all think he's a don. They all think he's a gangster. They all think that he's the one that takes care of all the Tongan boys. But guess what? What none of the younger generation knew is during the racial wars, Doc did nothing, not one thing for the Islander boys, yeah? He was the only Tongan that was kicking back at Bathurst with all the Kuru boys when all the Islanders were getting chopped at all the Kuru prisons. He was there through all of it, yeah? And he did nothing. You remember when I told you guys that I went to Bathurst and then they told me I was going to go out to the main, and then Johnny Bandit, the Asian, he sent him. He looked up at me and said that he'll watch my back when it comes out. Guess what? Doc was there when that happened. So when I got grabbed and I got taken to segregation because I refused to sign the protection papers, yeah, and I scrunched it up and I chucked it in the officer's face and I said, let me outside. And the only reason why they came to me was because that Kuru idiot mentioned my name on his phone saying, oh, watch this dumb Islander when he comes out. We're going to have these guys. And this is the one thing that the Kuru boys do very bad inside prison is when they get high, they don't think about the consequences when they talk on the phone. So they just start yapping away. And then that's when the screws find out everything. But yeah, Doc was there when I was there, yeah? And I was getting ready to come out to the yard. And all the Fijian boys that were there were saying to Doc, bro, like, what are we going to do though? The young Usos here, man, like, we want to back him up. But the Fijian boys were saying that the leader of the Fijians, Ray Johnson, told them not to back me up. You know, like, I'm Samoan and I have to stand on my own 2 feet. So I was getting ready to go get pumped as soon as I walk out because it's a Kuru prison, all right? And guess what that Doc did when I was there? He full told one of the Asian boys that was there, if that friggin' young Samoan cunt, he wants to be a gangster, let him walk out here and let's see what he's got. So to all you Tongan boys that have just got out of prison, that all think that Doc is the Don Goleon, this is what he was doing back then, yeah? He was freaking having a laugh with all the Kuru boys at the expense of all the Islanders that were getting abstayed every time they got there. You know, this is not me trying to throw any of the Kuru boys under the bus, not me trying to throw any of the Islander boys under the bus. All I'm doing is exposing Doc for the person he is. Now he's considered an old school cream, you know, but all the Tongan boys consider him a Don or, you know, an uncle, someone that they all look up to. But none of them even friggin' realise his past. The bloke did itche for the friggin' Islanders, yeah? He was teaming up on that side against the Islanders. And now he's got the nerve to go and say, yeah, you know, the S2F boys, they all stand with me. Whatever I say goes. This is how Doc speaks, yeah? And this is what I've been told time and time again. And the reason why Doc started talking itche about me was because I was the one that knocked him out. I think it was back when Baz Kavanagh and Oscar Tafahema had the drama, and all of you already know this story because I told it before. Doc was the one who left there and tried to conspire behind my back to get me chopped. Right? Lucky for me, I'm very close with the Tafahemas, so they sent me the message, and as soon as Doc got there, I knocked him out. And then everybody knew me as the kid that knocked out one of the older boys, because that's my thing. I love one-on-ones. Right? He wouldn't see me jump anyone, and if someone did jump into one of my fights, I would always push him away. Like, there's a guy that that Frenny. Well, I was having a one-on-one with a guy that called him a coconut. Frenny's young, so he doesn't realize that that's a bad thing to be called a coconut inside the island yard. I know it was his mate, so they were just joking around. I took it to offense, and I said to him, "Who the F are you calling one of the islanders a coconut in the islander yard?" And this guy, very big and muscly guy, long story short, I told him to come to the shower for a one-on-one. He didn't hesitate, obviously, because he's a big boy. Took off his shirt, same thing, I laid him out. And then when I knocked him out, Franny ran in and threw a kick at him and tried to throw a punch. And I was very quick to grab him and throw him off, and I went off with him, because that's not the type of person I am, like one-on-one, and I finished at that. And this is what I keep trying to say to all these younger boys who are running around with these and who are taking chiefs to school all the time. Like, why? Mate, you realize that you live another day if you just go and take on your fears like this. For all you guys that's out there doing this stuff, you're not cool when you're walking around with a sheep, with a knife in your bag. Or you're not cool when you're walking around with a knife in your school bag and taking it to school. You're not a gangster if you're going to abstate someone that lives in an area that you don't get along with. No, you're not a gangster when you do that. You're an idiot. Yeah. All I'm trying to say is, this is your opportunity now to change your ways. Don't listen to me. Don't listen to what anyone else is saying. Do it for yourself, because if you don't, you're going to end up bumping into guys like Doc, who's going to have all these war stories, and he's going to have this so-called big-time reputation. And then when he's using you to his advantage, you're the little puppet that's going to think, I'm being backed up by Doc, and you're not even realizing this cunt never ever had a name with the Islander boys. This guy was considered like an enemy of the Islanders. There were so many boys that wanted to chop Doc, but they couldn't touch him because he was hiding at the Koori prisons. And the Koori boys were the ones taking care of this Tongan Doc. Yes, I can't deny the fact that Doc Afu is a gangster. This guy had a shootout with the police. He goes on with it, he does what needs to be done. But inside prison, he never, not once, ever backed the Islanders. Simple as that. All right. To each and every one of you who was sending through gifts, my love and respect. To everyone that was tapping it up, you all know how I am when it comes to the likes. If I don't hit that benchmark, at least we friggin', at least I can show my love to you guys by saying that you sat there and you were willing to learn from my stories. And to all the parents who are making their kids watch my stories, big love and respects to you guys. I'm not here to try to get views and likes and gifts and all this stuff. My thing is, I just tell my story with the hope that you guys learn from it. But at the same time, remember, I am not trying to tell any of you guys what to do.